In the news, Michael Bay has his next 2 films already lined up according to Variety. Bay will be working on 6 Underground and Robopocalypse. Link for the Variety article in the description box below. So part of me is excited about this because the first story, 6 Underground, is an original idea. It's an original concept. So new films coming out, right? We're not rehashing old stuff. We're not revamping. We're not retooling. We're not reimagining. Like, it's just a brand new concept, a brand new idea that's coming out. And that's pretty exciting. So I like that aspect of it. I like that idea that we're going to get this brand new property, this brand new IP that's going to drop. And Michael Bay is going to be in charge of it, which means it'll probably have some really great action and CGI. As far as the characters and everything else go, we'll have to wait and see as to who they cast and so on and so forth. Just the general, like, high-level overview, right? It sounds like it could be pretty cool because it's an original idea. And it's an original idea written by the guys who did Deadpool and Deadpool 2. So that implies that there's going to be possibly a nice level of comedy mixed in with the action, which is always nice if, you know, you're into action comedies, which seem to have been gaining more ground as of late. So I'm definitely excited about that because I'd like to see what Michael Bay can do with an action comedy that may be in the vein of a Deadpool film. So Robopocalypse feels like it just falls right into Michael Bay's wheelhouse. It's a story about a robot uprising, which basically is like Transformers. But if we can get away from the Transformers franchise and just let him focus on new characters and a new story, let his brain kind of go to work with his successes and failures in the Transformers franchise, and try and figure out how to move forward with something better and something new and fresh, I think that might actually be good for him because he can take what he's done, really evaluate it, look at it and go, this worked, this didn't work. I've got brand new characters that most people aren't familiar with. So he's going to have a little bit more leeway, right? Because that built-in fan base of what you would get from a Transformers franchise isn't as prevalent with this new Robopocalypse. So he's going to have a little bit of a grace to it where if something slips up and doesn't really land, that's okay because our expectation for the most part is just going to be based on what we get from the characters as we're watching the film. So I think that's a pretty good deal for him to be able to come in and create a new robot movie where our expectation is just that it's going to look great and the robots, when they come to life, will also probably look pretty great. And then as we're experiencing the movie in the theater, then we can say, oh, okay, so now I see some similarities between the Transformers films he did, but does it knock it out of the park? We'll have to wait and see. And I'm looking forward to seeing what casting looks like as well as that first trailer. So fingers crossed Bay is able to deliver on both of these properties because they sound very different, even though the similarity for both of these films is action, which Michael Bay is known for. He is known for action films. He does great action sequences. His action movies all look great. Those action fight scenes, guns, explosions, robots, right? Airplanes. It all looks great. Whether you like the story and the characters is a different story, but it looks great. So with that, we can say that this is playing to his strength, and hopefully he'll be able to knock it out of the park with both of these titles. Wonder Woman 2 has found its villain in Kristen Wiig playing Cheetah, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Not being overly familiar with the character of Cheetah, I wanted to go back and do a little research to try and figure out like what it is about the backstory that really feels like it could work for this new film that Patty Jenkins was so excited about. I knew going in that Cheetah is literally a girl that looks like a cheetah, and she's got superpowers, and she's basically like a god, a demigod, similar to Wonder Woman, and she is in like the arch nemesis category. She's part of the rogues gallery of villains for Wonder Woman. So automatically I knew that there's that history there, but I didn't really know much about the history or how Kristen Wiig could really fit into this character and the persona that goes into Cheetah. So I wanted to do a little research, so I pulled up the internet, did a quick Google, did some reading on it, and we're gonna discuss it right now. So there is a little bit of a difference as far as like who gets to be Cheetah, what Cheetah is, and what Cheetah evolves into from the early story. So the very first Cheetah was from 1943, and that was by a character of the name of Priscilla Rich. And she's a blonde aristocrat who is neurotic. She's got multiple personality disorder, and she has a mental breakdown after attempting to kill Wonder Woman. And in the mirror, she sees the reflection of this cheetah-like character, and then she just becomes that character. She wears a cheetah costume. She doesn't turn into a full human cheetah like a hybrid. She just wears the costume, and she continues to try and kill Wonder Woman throughout the stories. And she sees like in the conversation like what you'd see in Spider-Man, the first one, the Sam Raimi one with Green Goblin, where William Dafoe is talking to himself in the mirror and it's like two different people. There's that type of thing that happens. The second version is Debbie Domain, and that's actually Priscilla's niece. and she gets captured, tortured, and brainwashed into becoming the Cheetah. So there's not as much there as far as that's concerned, but still interesting nonetheless. The third and fourth both share one similarity as far as archaeology goes. The third one is Barbara Ann Minerva, and she is a neurotic archaeologist that while like on an expedition in Africa, finds this tribe that has the Cheetah, ends up killing her, killing everybody in the tribe except for a priest who helps her become the Cheetah. But the Cheetah, because she wants to become immortal, but the Cheetah, whoever becomes the Cheetah, whatever woman becomes the Cheetah, has to be a virgin for the whole thing to work, the process to work, so that she can gain the immortality and powers of the Cheetah. And she's not, and so there's the disfigurement that happens to her body to where she actually looks like a hybrid lady cheetah, like a human lady meets cheetah, which is the one I think most people are familiar with who read the comics. In fact, I'll go ahead and throw a photo of that right now, right here, so you can go ahead and just take a look real quick and see like what we're talking about right now as far as to like what a hybrid woman cheetah looks like. So this is probably what we're gonna get. This is like the motion capture version that she may play, as far as to like half woman, half cheetah. And her story really like picks up with regards to the lasso of truth because she likes to collect these artifacts, right? Since she's an archaeologist. And so that plays into that whole storyline as well. And the last one is Barbara Cavendish. She speaks 7 languages. She has 2 PhDs. She is also an archaeologist. And she's actually tricked by the sons of Ares into going on this expedition with them to turn her into a demigod. And the whole thing, again, similar to what we just talked about with the last one. Everything goes awry. They try and use her to find Themyscira. So you can see kind of how these things are going to play into the world of Wonder Woman. With the character trying to find the lasso of truth to add it to her collection, with the character trying to find Themyscira, with the character being an archaeologist, and us already knowing that Wonder Woman, Princess Diana, actually works at the Louvre, right, in the archaeology section. There's already little tie-ins that we can see happening between what the comic book history is for this villain, as well as what's already established in the DC film universe right now. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that plays out. I think Kristen Wiig is a nice choice because I believe she'll be able to carry off the kind of split neurotic personality of what this character is in the comic books. And I believe she'll also be able to add some kind of sarcastic, almost sardonic humor to the whole thing. It'll be a really nice kind of flavor against the almost stoic approach that Wonder Woman has in all of her delivery and her lines. When you have somebody who's so darkly sarcastic and everything else coming up against her, who is probably going to be doing motion capture to look like half woman, half cheetah. I think Kristen Wiig will really be able to pull this off. I think she'll be able to deliver some really snarky comments. And I think it'll be, again, a nice balance between that stoic nature of Wonder Woman meets this wild, multiple split personality, kind of neurotic archaeologist in whatever version that they decide to go with for the Cheetah. So go ahead and sound off below in the comment section if you're a big Wonder Woman's fan as far as the comics are concerned, and let us know which version of Cheetah you'd like to see brought to the big screen, or why you think kind of blending different versions could work. Sony and Vin Diesel have closed a deal for him to star in the new Bloodshot movie, which starts principal photography in July, according to Deadline. Link for the article in the description box below. So for all the long-time watchers of this show, back at season 1, forever ago, we actually did talk about this story. We covered it just a little bit and kind of dove into what the character is and everything like that. So it's nice to see that months later, they finally were able to get everything locked up, get all of the paperwork signed so that they can move forward with this. It's also pretty exciting that they're moving so quickly. It's March right now. They're going to start principal photography in July. So they're really going to be ramping up to get this movie made and get it out into theaters. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see this drop in 2019. I would say like late summer, maybe like early fall of 2019, if they can really press this. Because in the article, they say it's going to be kind of in the vein of like an 80s action movie like RoboCop or something like that. So that to me sounds like it's going to be mostly practical effects with CGI, right? Because the character of Bloodshot, like he has all of the nanites in his body, so he can shape shift and ultra heal super quick and stuff like that, interface with technology. Like he's basically like Cyborg or RoboCop, but like a military special forces unit, right? So there's that element of it that I particularly think will be fun. And again, when they say it's going to be in the vein of like 80s action like RoboCop or something like that, again, that leads me to believe practical sets, right? Not a lot of CGI, but maybe they're going to do CGI, like motion capture. Just what we talked about with Cheetah, that's probably what they're going to do for this character with Vin Diesel. So you may see some behind the scenes footage of him with the things with the dots all over his face and his body and stuff like that. Like what Andy Serkis does with a lot of his different characters, especially with what he did for the Planet of the Apes franchise. So I am excited to see what's going to come of this because I like the idea of like 80s action, practical sets on site locations, right? Not on a soundstage or like a lot of computer generated images, but like in a downtown somewhere where it looks real. It looks like it's happening in a real life place. I really dig that vibe. Make it a little gritty, right? Realism. It sounds super cool. And then you just have this character who's like a nanite body that can like transform and shapeshift, like walking around all of these real life looking places. I think this could be a lot of fun. Now I'll have to wait and see what the trailers look like. We'll have to wait and see what some of the behind the scenes photos that leak online look like. Also, what's the casting going to be like? Who's going to be joining him in this adventure? Like we've got a lot of information we still need to get for this film. But like I said, it's starting to film in July. So that means we should start getting this information pretty quickly as like far as that's concerned. Because you can't really start filming a movie without a cast. At least I think you can't. Comment below and let me know if you can start filming without a cast. Honorable mentions this week. The Whitney Houston documentary, Whitney, is scheduled for release July 6th, 2018. Elizabeth Shue and Rob Morgan join Tom Hanks in Greyhound. Karen McCullough signs up to adapt the novel The Stylist for the big screen. 20th Century Fox has hired Alan Loeb to write a romantic comedy for Ryan Reynolds to star in. James Gunn and Elizabeth Banks reunite to make another horror movie. And that wraps up the news this week. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and give me that thumbs up, because the thumbs up helps people who like movie-related shows find this movie-related show right here on YouTube. Hi everyone, this is Jeremy Brunansky and you've just finished watching the movie news segment. Now if you enjoyed that, you may want to check out the Certified Rad playlist, which covers something awesome and uplifting that we found, or you may want to go ahead and check out the Special Segments playlist, which covers just a range and variety of topics that I want to dig a little deeper in, but we don't necessarily have time for on the weekly show. We will see you guys next Monday for a brand new episode of Brunansky's Vlog right here on YouTube at 10 a.m. PST. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.